Welcome to Vikings basketball with head coach Jase Coburn. The Portland State Vikings are back home this week, and it's going to be the biggest week of basketball right here in Viking Pavilion this season. The Vikings take on third place Montana on Thursday night at 7 p.m. and then second place Montana State Saturday at 2 p.m. And the reason they're in second and third place, the Vikings are in first. 7-0. Coach, since we last talked, the Vikings have pushed it out to 7-0, best start in school history. How exciting has that been for your group? And the great part is, of the 7, 4 of those have been on the road.
Yeah, I think first and foremost, I think that being able to win on the road has been huge for us. That was one of our issues last year, so we really looked into changing things and doing things differently. But ultimately, it comes down to our players' mental toughness to be able to win on the road, and be able to come up with 2 road sweeps and be able to win those Saturday games has been huge. So I couldn't be more proud of our team for being able to do that, because it takes a lot of toughness to win on the road, especially in the Big Sky. You're playing good teams and in tough places to play. So couldn't be more proud of our guys for getting that done. And yeah, we're excited. We're 7-0. More so just to honor our past players. Because the next game is always the biggest game, and it feels kind of crazy. Like every game that comes up it genuinely feels like it's the biggest game coming up. So we're just going to stay in that mindset.
All right, and the reason the Vikings are winning on the road is because when they go on the road, apparently this year it's Miller time. Because Terry Miller Jr. has been brilliant, particularly in the second halves of games on the road. 19 in the second half at Weber State, the big three-pointer at Idaho State to send the game to overtime. And then this past week, he scores 7 points with a block and an assist in the final 2 minutes to hold off Eastern Washington. 20 points in the second half against Idaho to get the win there. Terry Miller Jr., no surprise, Big Sky Conference Player of the Week. How great has he been for you, especially on the road?
Yeah, I mean, Terry's awesome. Like, he's awesome to coach. He's an unbelievable talent. He's an unbelievable player, unbelievable person. He's got a lot of competitive spirit, a lot of competitive fire. We love those things about him. We never want him to change that. And what he's been able to do in a lot of these games has been remarkable. He's really worked on his game over the off season, and it's been able to carry into this season. And he's been facing a lot of double teams and people game planning against him and all types of things. And he's been able to succeed through it all. So couldn't be more proud of him for the season he's put together so far, and that he's been Player of the Week. He's been close a couple different times, and to be able to have that for him is awesome. So I couldn't be more proud of him. And I don't know where we would be without him. So. All
right. In the last 4 weeks, the Vikings, 3 seniors, Miller, Trevon Minot, Jalen Henderson, have all earned Big Sky Player of the Week honors. That just tells you how great the Vikings have been playing. Before we move on to this week's play, I want one last thought, Coach, and I know you're going to trumpet these guys. Let's talk about the bench for a minute. You don't have those big numbers from those guys off the bench, but you've certainly had some key minutes, especially this past week, especially at Idaho. Jalen Henderson finally had to come out of a game because of fouls, but you got guys like Isaiah Williams, Kelsey Phipps, Bryce Long, a bunch of guys come in and giving you, even if it's 3, 4, 5 minutes at a time, giving you quality minutes so your team can hold the line against your opponents.
Right. I mean, I think one thing is that during the fall, a lot of those guys you just mentioned, along with a couple others, were battling injuries during the fall and battling injuries during non-conference. So they were kind of in and out of practice, in and out of games, things like that. And so not a lot of people knew that or understood that because we were playing a short rotation early. But, a lot of those guys got hit by the injury bug. And so now that they're healthy and been able to be on the practice floor and be able to get in games and stuff like that, they're starting to turn it on. And, they're the players that we always thought they would be, And so we're really confident in those guys. And I think those guys are starting to build a lot of confidence coming down here in conference play. And they're just hitting their stride at the perfect time. I think a lot of times, coaches start, dwindling down the rotation once it starts to hit conference time on the back half. And we're actually starting to extend it out. So, but like I said, a lot of that is battling through injuries in the fall. And now those guys are getting going, and it's only going to make us better. So really excited to see those guys get out there.
Okay, I have a question for you about winning. The Vikings, as I already mentioned, off to the best start in school history, 7-0 in Big Sky play. Thursday against Montana, you have a chance to win your 16th consecutive Big Sky home game. That would be a school record. Right now, you're tied at 15 with the previous teams. But another record is available to your team. Is that something you present to your team, stuff like that, as little nuggets maybe in practice or to motivate them? Or is that something you even need to present? Or is it important when you're preparing for games?
Yeah, I mean, I do think it's really important. I don't tell our players about the records for motivation to break them, because we're not really like focused on outcomes. We're focused on how hard we're going to play, the passion we play with, the spirit we play with, focusing on the game plan and what we need to do to win that specific game. However, I do think it's really important, and I do tell them, because we need to honor the past. It's important to me that we have a tradition here at Portland State, and the amount of players I've heard from over the last couple weeks that we're off to this start talking about how proud they are to be a Portland State Viking has been awesome. And that's really what a lot of this is about. So I do want our players to know that there is a tradition here, and we do have an opportunity to break records, and we do have an opportunity to honor the past. And when you get close to breaking a record, those teams start to come up again. And so, yeah, I mean, I'm big into honoring the past. Even the teams that I wasn't a part of here, because we want all of our Portland State Vikings to feel proud that they are Portland State Viking. So yeah, I mean, yeah, we do talk about it for sure.
All right, as we now look ahead, Thursday night, Montana, defending Big Sky champions. They were actually picked first in the preseason polls. The Vikings picked second. Coach, we know how good they are. They've kind of been the hallmark of the Big Sky in recent years. Travis DeCuire does a great job over there. He's got a star, Money Williams, who put on a show here last year, even though the Vikings pulled out the win in that game. Talk a little bit about the challenge of that game.
Yeah, I mean, defending champs, right? Like, won the regular season last year, won the conference tournament, made it to the NCAA tournament. They got to where we wanted to go last year. And so we know that, they're the defending champs, and they got a championship mentality. And in order to be a champion, you got to beat the champions. And so we're fully expecting to give our best effort on Thursday night. We're fully expecting for them to give their best effort on Thursday night, and it should be a hell of a game. We're going to give it our all. Like I said, to be a champ, you got to beat the champs. And we totally respect them and everything that they've done for their program and their tradition and all that. So we know it's going to be a battle.
All right, and then on Saturday, Montana State coming in, and they're in second place. Actually, a little bit of a surprise. They weren't picked as high. What's made them so successful this year? Just a half a game behind the Vikings.
I actually felt like the whole time that they were one of the best teams in the league. I got nothing but respect for their coaching staff and their players. I felt like with how they put together their team and the players, I was pretty familiar with a lot of those guys. I felt like that they were going to be one of the best teams in the league for sure. I'm not really surprised by how good they are. I kind of thought that the whole time, because they're really talented, they're well coached, they have an identity, they know what they're doing, they know who they are, and it's another team that's been in the NCAA tournament. It's another program that's been in the NCAA tournament. So we want to get to where those guys, both teams, we want to get to where those guys were at. And the only way to do it is go right through them. So we're excited for Saturday too.
All right. And actually, the Vikings have a 3-game homestand on Monday. They will be hosting Idaho State right here at 7 o'clock. We're not going to talk about that game, though, Coach. We got 2 in front of it. Viking Pavilion. Is it going to be rocking Thursday? How do you think that's going to be Thursday and Saturday?
I mean, I'm so proud of our fans for let's call it the effort and the spirit and the passion that they show.
They're a little like their coach during games.
Yeah, I would say so for sure, right? Like, I know you mentioned that the team takes on the head coach's personality, but I feel like our fans do a little bit too. Like when we have kids on visits and stuff, we tell them, like, our fans are the type of fans that aren't going to sit on their hands. Like, our fans are going to scream and veins are going to be popping out, and they're going to be screaming and going crazy for their team and showing a lot of passion and emotion, kind of like my mom. Yeah, I mean, I couldn't appreciate our fans that show up and support us, because, they've got a lot of fire and passion to them, and that's what we like. We like this place to get crazy and wild. So, and we like to play inspired basketball too. I tell our guys all the time, like, it's our job here at Portland State to inspire our fans. If we want to grow the fan base, we got to inspire people. We can't just come out here and play normal basketball. Like, we've got to play with a certain passion and an edge that people will appreciate. And so we come out here every time with that goal in mind.
All right, the Vikings, they're leading the Big Sky in defense. They're leading the Big Sky in rebounding. Most importantly, They're leading the Big Sky in wins at 7-0, and currently leading the Big Sky in Players of the Week. Terry Miller Jr. once again wins that honor this week. The Vikings home this week. Montana Thursday night, 7 p.m. Montana State Saturday, 2 p.m. And if that's not enough, come back Monday, 7 p.m. against Idaho State. For all your information on Vikings basketball, go to govikes.com.